welcome you to another live edition of the Sports Box, brought to you by our friends at CrowdPlay. Download the free CrowdPlay app today and use the box at sign up for 10 points. And here we go.
Oh. I was getting a big echo while that was going on. Was that anybody else, or is that just me?
Must have been just you, Paulie. This is you. What's going on?
What's up, boys?
Gentlemen, how are we?
Ooh. Anything interesting going on in the world today?
Yeah, right. One day at a time. Living one day at a time.
Yeah, that is for sure. That is for sure. You know, it's definitely a interesting day in America, so to speak, and what we got going on. So, we'll see what's going on. Paul, you sharing everything out? Appreciate it. You know, we're here, a little basketball talk tonight, which will be interesting. Let's jump right into it. I mean, things are getting a little crazy down in Washington, and we've seen in the past about the social justice that the NBA has been extremely involved in. There's already been some comments, some concerns from players. The Sixers are playing the Washington Wizards tonight. The NBA already came out and said that they don't plan on postponing Wednesday's game in Washington, so hopefully everything is quelled by then. But Paul, off camera, you made the assertion that we might see an NBA stoppage similar to what happened in the bubble. What are you thinking? You think that's realistic? I mean,
yeah. I think that's going to be directly related to the players. And I mean, it's you've seen it last year in the bubble. Milwaukee came out and kind of just said, we're not playing. Players aren't playing. There's no game. And with the entire social justice thing, they're not. You can't just. You can't not pay them. You can't strike. You just gotta. You're at liberty to them. And like I said, I mean, just I could really see them trying to do this again. And like I said, it's completely up to them and their decision. And if that's the one that they make, I believe. It sucks for us as fans, but I mean, they got a way bigger picture in their head. So, but I mean, what do you think? Is that not realistic in today's age?
Oh, it's absolutely realistic. Certain cities could be affected. Maybe
sure.
Not
I mean, Georgetown UMass got canceled tonight
already. Really?
Yep. There's curfew warnings in Washington, so I guess nobody's allowed out after these times. Their game was scheduled for 7:00. UMass is on the bus on our way back to Massachusetts.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and we're an hour past that 6:00 curfew, as we've seen. So, anything. Yeah. So anything after that, it's one of those things where we'll see how responsive the NBA is. Doc Rivers had some comments. Caught some people a little bit off guard. I think, but not too surprising.
They just had Doc on the TV. I had the volume down. What?
I really don't. I'm not repeating what he said, but just just to paraphrase a little bit, if the people storming the house were a different color, and the Capitol were a different color, there would be a different response. So, it's definitely something that brings up a stark comparison in society and how people are treated. You have millionaire athletes now that are being a little bit more social conscious, that get the view of the nation, and they have a voice. And if you guys remember during last work stoppage or whatever protest or I forget exactly how they wanted it termed, Doc Rivers was one of the leading people there. Chris Paul came to him and they had him speak, and Doc was the one who spoke to everybody. So now it'll be interesting to see how he's able to impact the Sixers clubhouse and everything like that. And with these younger players, I mean, you have leaders like Danny Green, which has been great. Dwight Howard, I wouldn't always call him a leader. But he is a veteran player, and he's shown some real he's shown some really good things early on in the season. So when you're pointing at that, you want to see if Doc Rivers could implement guys like Ben and Joel to actually kind of be a little bit more upfront with certain things. I mean, Ben's been vocal in the past, so we'll see if his leadership kind of rises these guys to the next level when certain things in America come up.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, Michael Jordan got criticized for years for not voicing his opinions and taking political views, but it's really tough for a player. It's just such a fine line. It's like, do you want to speak out? Do you know what you're really saying, and are you educated enough to say what you're saying? So it's a real tough line for a player, especially if you're not an outgoing player. And Ben's not that guy,
You remember what Jordan's comment was that he took some heat for?
I do.
They all buy my shoes.
Republicans buy sneakers too,
Yep.
So I mean, and I think Michael Jordan was, Michael Jordan's done a ton for charity and everything like that. It's just on social media before, for the pre-social media thing, you didn't really see it, and unless you go out there kind of trying to be a glory hole. Kind of win. Mickey pick of the day, Mickey with the pick of the day over in Philly. I like it, buddy. So he was able to do a lot of great things, and the voice is different. But Charles Barkley on the same thing. I'm not a role model, so like these guys are going to embrace it and grasp it different,
Yeah, I mean, it could affect their money. I mean, this is about money, and it can affect their money.
Speaking of money. Right. One of the big things today in the NBA, they're talking about trying to come up with ways to help pass COVID and try to generate more revenue. Is the NBA talking about some expansion? That was a big hot talk today. What do you guys think about this? You think it's a good idea? They're talking about adding 2 teams, and if they do add 2 teams, what cities do you think should be in there?
Well, Seattle is a given, right?
Seattle and Vegas.
Right. Seattle and Vegas. Now, that would put 2 teams in the Western Conference. What team do you move over to the East, or do you try to do it 1-on-1? I mean,
if you do it by geography, it's kind of tough.
NBA is complete, just split, right? Actual East and West. It's not like the NFL.
Yeah, where Dallas is in the East, and Arizona was in the East for years, and it's a little different.
So on the East Coast,
where doesn't have a team, right? Like
Baltimore. I mean, there's a ton of talent in Baltimore, in that Baltimore area, the Prince George County. There was a documentary with Kevin Durant and all them guys. I mean, that's very close to D.C., and D.C. isn't really a huge hot market, but Baltimore is a city without it. St. Louis.
How about Jersey?
Jersey, we're bringing the Atlantic City Showboats, buddy.
We'll take it down to AC. I mean, what's going on in Atlantic City right now? Nothing.
There ain't no way they put a pro team in Atlantic City.
Get it going. Let's get it going.
There was a pro team in Atlantic City, Paulie. Atlantic City Seagulls.
Seagulls, yeah.
When the hell was that?
Back in the
late 90s, early 2000s.
For what? For what?
It was like an ABL team.
Yeah, I mean, I realistically though, where else would you put one? You mentioned Baltimore, Florida has 2 already.
Yeah, you'd have to double up, maybe.
Right.
Another Pennsylvania state, put it out in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I mean, Pittsburgh's got 3 or 4 and a great fan base. Can you imagine the Pittsburgh basketball team and just.
Listen, Pittsburgh is not one of my favorite cities at all. Have you ever seen the women out in Pittsburgh? Oh, it's awful. It's awful. And you know James Harden will never play there. You know, I mean, expansion wise, though. I mean,
Sean wants one in Dover.
Yeah,
Dover, Delaware.
Right
Well, listen, if you have Dover, Delaware,
that's true.
Now Henry here, Henry Zimenoff. Hopefully, I'm pronouncing your right name. I like it. I was about to say this too. Nashville. You know, Nashville is one of the biggest
hot area. Yeah, hot area.
It's a huge up-and-coming area. You know,
they got 2 out of the major 4, right? Titans
well,
and
we're all on board with Seattle, right? You got to bring Seattle.
Yeah, Seattle is it's like they're due next.
I'm going Vegas, buddy. I'm going Vegas over Seattle.
I like Vegas. You need a
basketball. I like Vegas as a spot. Vegas wants to put as much things in there as they can.
Yeah. If you're gonna bring a football team in, that means you need a basketball team. You already have hockey because
they're right. They got hockey.
Yeah, you need people coming in and out of the stadiums year round. So Vegas has got to have all the sports teams. A basketball team in Vegas is a must.
That's what I said. Seattle and Vegas. I mean, but how do you?
I agree.
How do you split it up?
Like Sean said,
would they ever move?
Sean said move some teams. Move Oklahoma.
Right. I was going to say, would they move a West or a Western Conference team to the East?
2 of them. You'd have to move 2 of them.
Yeah, if you go 2, you have to keep it. You have to keep it safe. So if you do move 2, that's another thing too. Sean mentioned the Pels and Oklahoma City. Do you really think they want to move Zion though? I don't think so.
Yeah, I mean, New Orleans, you can definitely move over to the East.
But that's Zion. I mean, I don't know if you want to do that.
What do you think about the extra teams and like the talent and like what? I mean, you feel like it's just there's not enough. Like, you know what I mean? Is it going to be what kind of team is it going to be?
I mean, they're going to probably stink to start. They'll probably They'll probably do what the NHL. I mean. Can basketball do what the NHL did?
I know you were around when, I know you were around when they expanded. They Miami Heat came in, Charlotte Hornets came in, right? That expansion. You were probably about in middle school or high school era and everything like that, right? I'm going to tell you, when those teams expanded, they were the hottest starter jackets you can get. They were 2 of the most popular teams, right?
They're going to sell.
I mean. So when you bring in new franchises, especially in the NBA, there's a lot of excitement. And how they did it with the draft and the expansion draft is a protect. You know, hey, you play 2K, you get to protect 8 players or 7, whatever you decide, and then go from there.
Well, that's how hockey did it, right?
Come on, you're on the wrong show to bring up something how hockey did.
I mean, that's exactly how hockey did when they brought in the expansion team. Everybody was allowed to keep up to X amount of players and.
Well, that's why I'm using, since this is a basketball show, I'm using a basketball example because
it's happened already.
Hockey stinks, you know. But yeah, you also had Toronto. I mean, let's not forget St. Louis.
I was gonna say, would it be another team in Canada?
Vancouver, from what I've remembered, did very, very well, and it just didn't. Didn't grasp it. You know what I'm saying? Toronto took off. Like what Vince Carter did to Toronto and NBA, and you see so many players now in the NBA from Canada. I mean, that was a huge influence by Vince Carter, and there's a great documentary about it. If I had to pick 2 teams, though, like 2 cities, I would probably say Vegas won, and I probably would lean to Seattle with Nashville a close second. Now, they'll have to do some maneuvering, but they would probably be the top 3 teams.
Well, I mean, Nashville could probably be in the East, no?
East or West? I would probably. I don't think anybody would have a problem with Nashville being in the East.
Right. Yeah, that's I mean, Nashville would be a cool spot. Like I said, I mean, you got Canada's probably what's that?
Now I'm looking at Mike Galletta, friend of the show.
Yeah, just the conference, Mike, not the state or the city.
Yeah.
Toronto had Vince Carter, and the Grizzlies had Big Country.
Big Country, Bryant Reeves, yeah.
Yep.
And then they took Sharif Abdul-Rahim in the draft.
And
listen, Sharif Abdul-Rahim was a great player too. I mean,
he was really good.
He was just in that draft with Kobe and and Ray Allen and Allen Iverson and
Yeah.
Stephon Marbury, and it was just that was just a stacked draft, and he just wasn't able to get them to the next level. And when they moved, they were a good draw. If the Pelicans go into the East, they're immediate contenders. I don't know. They're going to get a lot of publicity, but this season, anybody could be a contender. It looks like,
Cavs.
Cavs, yeah.
No, the Pelicans are a good team though. They're going to be a good team.
Yeah.
Speaking of good teams,
we got one.
Sixers, baby, number one team in
one.
the East, top defense.
There you go.
Playing
Same old
playing
Sixers.
Washington tonight.
Sitting atop of the NBA
Like
standing.
Bibby.
What, 3 weeks?
Bibby
3 weeks
sits
in,
on.
sitting up top. I don't think
Yeah.
anybody. I mean, I didn't really think they'd be. It's so early, but
Well, that's the thing.
still don't think. I mean, 6-1. That's their best start since. I forget what the hell I heard, but I mean that's their best start in a while.
Well, here's the thing, though. Okay, when we're looking at the Sixers, and we didn't have any preseason, and it was a shortened off season for some teams. It was extremely long for other teams, right? And you have the Sixers sitting at 6-1. They have a new coach, new offensive system, and the new offensive system has looked phenomenal. The ball movement. Tobias Harris has shown some life, but let's not overlook something really big right here. Okay, the Sixers have 6 wins. The Wizards, the Knicks, the Raptors, who are struggling, the Magic, and the Hornets twice.
That's
and they
good.
lost,
Like extra
and their loss was
preseason.
to the Cavaliers.
Without
Extra work.
Embiid.
Yeah.
So
So, I mean,
6-0 with Ben and Embiid in there. I mean, Sean has nothing to say this week. Ben hit his 3. He's a third of the way on his season over.
Plus 800 tonight for him to hit another one.
yeah, on Barstool Sportsbook, it's plus 800. So hey, why not throw a couple bucks on it if you guys got in there already? But when you're looking at it too, is this just a glorified preseason right now that some teams have are going on? I mean, this looks like a great preseason way. You couldn't ask for a better schedule for the Sixers to kind of work everything out. In the first couple of games, they didn't look great, but now the ball movement is phenomenal. I think one of the things that we're overlooking, we'll talk about Tobias Harris's nice run in the next couple minutes, but one of the things we're overlooking is when you add into Seth Curry, right? Now you have Tobias, okay? Now you have Danny Green with Ben and Joel. That one extra shooter, or that second extra shooter, if you want to call Danny Green a shooter, because he hasn't been lighting it up. I mean, but he's doing better. When you look at their lineup last year, right? They have with Ben, Horford, Embiid, Josh Richards, and Tobias. Now, Josh Richardson wasn't a shooter. Al Horford wasn't a shooter, but they were put in roles like that. Now, when they rotate the ball, you have Seth Curry hitting that 3, and now you have Tobias hitting everything under the sun right now. And it's phenomenal to watch. I mean, I've been one of the biggest critics of Tobias, and I think it was definitely well deserved because how he was playing. And Doc Rivers called him out. He was all hopping on the ball. It was a bad. As soon as he got the ball, the offense was just at a dead stop.
Yeah.
Now he's not. He's playing different.
Well, he loves Doc, man. Doc's his guy, and you're gonna play for your guy. So
and
he's motivated. He wants to prove Doc that he could play when he played for the Clippers. So he's really motivated. I mean, it's exactly what we need. We need that third guy to really, take this team by control at the end of the game. We need a guy like him at the end of the game.
And speaking of, he is embracing that role, and not only is he embracing that role, he's performing, because in the past it seemed, especially last year, when you're looking at what he's doing, okay, he's out there trying to be the man, but he just wasn't executing. If that makes sense to you guys, you know what I'm saying? Like, he wanted to be the man, he wanted to make the shot, but he was missing everything. And eventually, you just can't be the man when you're just missing and you're not performing. Now he's performing. He's shooting well over 50% from 3 in the last few games, averaging over 20 points a game, averaging close to 10 rebounds a game. I mean, is this fool's gold, or is this something that we're going to see for a long haul? What do you think, Paul?
I mean, I think this is the Tobias that we were expecting when he came out of the Clippers. I mean, when he first came here, he was. I mean, the year before he was just on fire. Came here, played well, and then just for whatever reason was just. I don't want to say awful, but I mean he was just irrelevant for 3/4 of the season last year. And I mean, you got paid, like you gotta perform. And so I mean, you would hope he can keep this up, and maybe they made the right deal. Because I know, I mean, looking into last year, you were thinking they were another shitty deal out of the Sixers, or another shitty move, another part of the process they screwed up. So I mean, hopefully they can hit on them. I'm gonna say, just gotta keep how you're doing.
So how much so we've said that Tobias is guy and the Doc's Tobias's guy and all this other stuff, and we've the last few years looking at this, when the Sixers were supposed to be good, their offense under Brett Brown has been completely embarrassing. I mean, when they brought in Jimmy Butler, Brown didn't know how to use him. I mean, are Tobias's ills, and his struggles, could that really be maybe attributed to more Brett Brown than his actual play? I mean,
absolutely. Absolutely. That's why I'm buying in on Tobias.
That's what I said, right? Coming from the Clippers, I mean, he was obviously with Doc. I mean, he knew how to use him, how to coach him.
Brett Brown was horrible. So,
right.
I mean, you could tell what was wrong with this team. It was Brett Brown and we needed 2 more players. Get rid of a couple players. I mean, look what's going on. You could see it's a result of good coaching, motivating coaching, guys that want to play and play for their coach. You can see the results right now. Embiid's in shape. Simmons shooting 3-pointers.
Embiid's averaging the most minutes in the NBA right now.
Yeah, I mean the
crazy.
guy's balling. I mean,
no minute restriction on him.
They're going to go through a lull at some point. It's a season, Jordan season, but I mean, if you could just keep a good pace, win at this pace, they're going to be tough.
I mean, go top 2 teams in the East. I mean, then they're where we thought they were last year.
I mean, their offense is night and day. Watching it, man, it's just like ball movement, spacing. It's night and day. I mean, and then
Maxi's playing
and
nice.
And then to back it up, I mean, you got the number 1 defense. They just shut people down. So I mean, if this offense could just click, they're going to be a problem. Really,
I mean, you got that defense. It's all because you got a 6 foot, not what is he, 6'10", 6'11" foot point guard who like that. That is where what Doc was saying a couple weeks ago. It's just like he goes out there and keeps playing D. I mean, you're hitting your shots and you got that defense. It's going to be very, very hard to beat you, especially in a 7-game series.
And if you look at a team that they played in, like Charlotte last couple games, I mean, obviously Charlotte's not a very good team, and they have undersized guards in Terry Rozier and Devontae Graham, and Ben dominated them on defensively. I mean, they really struggled. I mean, there was times that they just took the ball away from them. Turnover. I mean,
bully ball.
Max was playing the passing lane too. I mean, it's contagious, with that. If people see that defensive effort, then everybody steps up and tries to play that effort. And, it's really good to see. I think
even the guys coming off the bench, man, it's just like a total different team. Like the bench guys coming off the bench with energy, taking control. It's really good to see. It really is.
I'm starting to like Maxey a lot.
Yeah, how can you not?
I mean, he's just full of when you said full of energy. I mean, he's out there. He just fucking goes as hard as he can.
And Shake
takes
over, man. He wants to take over when he gets the ball. He's not afraid. It's
You know,
pretty sick, man.
he's got a scorer's mentality. He's aggressive.
Yeah.
He's got a scorer's mentality,
Yeah.
and
I love it.
it does hurt a little bit to see them let go Alec Burks and see what he's doing in the New York Knicks, because you know he's definitely
listen. Anybody leaves Philly, they turn to fucking gold.
Christian Wood out in Houston.
Did you see Markelle Fultz's dunk last night?
No, I missed it. I don't know how I missed it, but I'm sure I missed it. I mean, if you could, Jeremy Grant. I mean, you know, if you go out there and you field a team with Jeremy Grant, Christian Woods, Alex Burke, Markelle Fultz, I mean, these guys are going to be playing decent ball. You know.
And what's the common denominator? Who was the coach when those guys came through?
Well, that's the thing that's one of the things that I was really critical about Brett Brown, you know.
Me too, man. That was my whole beef.
And the thing is too, he came here as a player development guy, and he didn't develop anything. And you know, I bashed TJ McConnell a lot when he was in Philadelphia, and the reason why I bashed TJ McConnell is because you could see what type of ceiling of a player that he had, right? So you know, McConnell was, you know, the team, a fan favorite, average player at best, and he's only going to be average player because he's very limited skill wise. But my biggest issue with the reason why I wasn't a fan of him there is because Brett Brown kept him on the roster.
Yeah,
in doing so,
yes, man.
He passed over a number of talented players that could maybe potentially fill a long-term void at that backup point guard position that they needed for a long, long time. He refused to bring anybody else in. I'm at a coaching clinic and I'm watching Brett Brown, you know, yell at Ja Okafor because he's just lazy as can be. And meanwhile, TJ McConnell's running up and down the court stiffing Brett Brown's nuts. So you see why he was loyal to him.
Yeah.
You know, but that's what I'm saying. Like, they never gave Christian Wood time. They never gave a lot of these guys opportunity to play, and now they're excelling. You know,
that's the front office and the coaching.
Well, there wasn't too much either going on really.
That's what I mean.
Tinky left.
We were tanking. We were tanking in all phases of an organization, pretty much.
Yeah, definitely things have turned around, which is good. You know, I think that what we need to, as Philly fans in Philly area, we have to be very, very wary of that Negadelphia, right?
Yeah.
Because the Sixers at some point are going to hit a stretch.
Yeah, it's going to happen.
It's going to happen where they either don't play good against good teams, because they've played a bunch of bad teams. Let's not sugarcoat it. You know, similar to what the Pittsburgh Steelers did in the first 10 weeks of the season. You know, undefeated, blah blah blah. They didn't play anybody. Sixers haven't really played anybody, but they're beating the teams that they're supposed to beat. 6-1, perfect.
Yeah,
we can't once Tobias struggles, once Embiid struggles, once this happens, you know, Ben doesn't shoot or something like that. Negadelphia has to calm down a little bit. Shit, you know what? I just realized
big blow.
They're playing Washington tonight, and I'm wearing a Washington shirt.
Yikes.
That's not good.
Big time.
That's not good.
I like that.
Yeah, listen, Manute was a Sixer. Muggsy Bogues. Who doesn't love Muggsy? But I forgot. I didn't mean to put that on, and I was at I was on theirs. Friend of the show, KG, checking in, I guess, for the first time this new year. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, man.
We got
his big Bulls fan.
What about KG's
Bulls
Bulls?
fan.
20 coming back from 20-point games. All right, KG.
Was that last night?
Only team all season.
Bulls came back last night?
Bulls came back, yeah, and won. Down 20. Only team all season to do so.
Yeah, I went to bed when they were maybe I went to bed early. It was like first quarter.
You got some lovely lady dragging you into bed, huh?
They played Portland.
You gotta leave them girls alone dragging you into bed, Paul. You're missing the games.
Gotta get up early, man.
Working on that KD, I'm sure.
Portland.
But yeah, the Bulls. I mean, the Bulls were the only team all season, and you know how many ever games played. 50, probably about 50 games, combined in the NBA. The only team in the NBA to come back from a 20-point deficit, which is a little weird because in the past, NBA is a game of runs. NBA, it's it doesn't really start to the fourth quarter. This season, you're seeing teams take off, rest people. Doesn't seem like the effort is consistently there. And the Bulls are a young team that seem to be providing effort, and with new coaching, Billy Donovan there is trying to turn that place around.
They're big dogs tonight too. 7-point dogs tonight.
Who's on the schedule for them tonight? I got to pull it up, man.
Oh, wait.
Sacramento.
Yeah. That's
In
weird.
Sacramento.
Yeah, I got to follow up. I got to pay attention to the schedules because some of these guys are playing. These teams are playing 3 nights in a row. Sometimes these lines, that's what dictates these lines also.
Yeah.
You got to do some research on that.
Yeah, the Bulls played against Portland in Portland last night, and then they're in Sacramento tonight. And that was always that's always an old adage in gambling in the NBA. Is you watch a team on the back-to-back road teams normally are teams that you want to bet against.
Yeah, I saw the Celtics. They've played 3 games. They've played 3 games in a row tonight, going into tonight, and they're playing a Heat team that's actually fresh. So I was looking at that game. I think it's off already.
But that is a weird Kings Bulls line. Kings on a 3-game losing streak too.
Yeah, and the Knicks too. If you've been playing the Knicks
are on a little winning streak.
Well, if you've been playing,
maybe not streak, but
if
4-3.
If you've been playing the Knicks, you'd be on money. They've been
covering their win. They're above 500 for the first time. I read the same thing as that since 2008. I want to say.
Yeah. Sean, we can talk
about last night.
We can talk about the Suns. Suns, they're an awesome team right now. I mean, they're playing really well. Chris Paul's made a huge difference.
The thing with kind of like what we said he would do with how he wanted to Oklahoma City. He makes those guys right. Well, Devin Booker is just an absolute fucking animal.
Well, DeAndre Ayton too. I mean, they're
Ayton's coming along.
And Chris Paul is going to help them.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing with Chris Paul. He had a few years ago. He was at real a nice crossroads in his career, right? Because when he went to LA and he had that stint with Blake Griffin and everything that really didn't work out too well. Yeah. Then he winds up in Houston and Oklahoma City. Houston is the big question mark because you know what you want to say is he really worked with Harden, and if he doesn't get hurt, they might beat that. They probably beat that Golden State team that won the championship.
Well, his career really took a turn. He's the one who the trade got blocked. He was supposed to go to the Lakers.
LA Kobe trade, yeah.
Yeah, David Stern stepped in and blocked that trade.
They blocked that trade.
Yeah, if you remember,
that changed the path of Chris Paul because if he goes to the Lakers, they're winning, and then he's viewed as
they said the same thing with Steve Nash. I mean, I don't know. It's the way it's heard.
No. Steve Nash was past his prime when he went to the Lakers.
I'm not going to say that you instantly put Chris Paul on any team and they win the championship because it's never happened. But the thing about Chris Paul, what's that?
I was going to say if Chris Paul came to the Lakers this year, because they were like, oh yeah, he's done again, and there was talks about him coming to the Lakers. Imagine if he's on that Lakers team.
They're still there too.
Because if LeBron James, I don't know if he is actually going to miss one of them spinning fadeaways this entire season. Did you watch that game last night?
Yeah,
it was just every time he go up the court, back the guy down, boop, fade away, splash. Yeah. The best.
So, but the thing that I'm really impressed about Chris Paul is though he last year when Oklahoma City he had everybody expected him to be traded and they tank and they just use him as assets and get. But what he did is he took a guy like Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and the rest of that Oklahoma City team and he really elevated their play. And a few years ago, that might not have happened with Chris Paul, because especially with the Clippers version of Chris Paul, he might not have been so so resident to and eager to help these young players, and he really did. He really did a great job. And now you see him in Phoenix. He's trying to prove a point that he is that leader. He's helping these young teams, he's trying to he's definitely trying to he's trying to elevate the back end of his career, and I think he's doing a wonderful job.
Yeah.
J-Rock.
Oh, J-Rock.
Guy.
J-Rock is in the building. Now listen, here's something that we haven't talked about yet is COVID hit Kevin Durant. I mean, he's going to be out for a few days. He's going to miss a few games, and the Nets are in everybody's favorite are sitting at 4-4.
Yeah.
I mean, is this a?
Well, this is a thing.
They lost Spencer Dinwiddie.
Well, this is the issue: is that I don't think he has it. He had it, but now
he doesn't have it.
He was in contact with someone.
Close contact, 7 days.
That's why the headline says due to COVID, not with COVID.
I'm sorry, due to COVID. But yeah,
I mean,
this is going to be an issue throughout the league.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe he was partying with Dwayne Haskins or something in the strip club down in Washington.
I mean, it's really the players' responsibility. I mean, they really have to. It's really on them.
Well, see, I think the players that like Kevin Durant, I think he's getting a little bit vilified for no reason when, because it is a close contact situation, and is it up to the players? Yes, but like if I'm like, so take for instance today, I'm in physical therapy, right? My physical therapist wasn't there today. Where is he at? Oh, his wife is showing symptoms of COVID. Now, am I close contact? I mean, would the NBA sit me out?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like it's not my fault. I mean, it's
that's what I mean.
That's what I'm saying. I don't think it might not have been his fault, but I mean, he could have a personal, like you just said, personal trainer gets it. Your mom, your kid has it. Whoever. I mean, you're out.
It's definitely a difficult situation to monitor, and he was cooking, and I guess it's going to be the Kyrie show there for a little bit, but
I mean the Nets are fortunate in a way because they're so deep. I mean, they have.
You look at it. You look at it this way: the NFL didn't cancel one game; they play a lot less games, I guess. So maybe not look at it that way. But as I said, the NFL made it through the entire season with postponing games and swapping things around. I mean, you would. It's a lot more games, but you would have to think that they would at least be able to move things around as much as possible for it. Is there talks of a playoff bubble? Wasn't there talks of?
I mean, if there's going to be a big outbreak, I mean, they might have to. But I mean,
well, if you guys the NCAA has already announced that they're going to have their entire tournament in a bubble. So that's going to be.
Is that what it was? NCAA.
Yeah, they already announced that
they're already in a bubble.
It's going to be. No, it's going to be in Indiana. So,
well, no, but I'm saying they play it at 8 stadiums.
Just one spot for NCAA?
Well, they said it's going to be in Indiana. I don't think they actually announced where the locations are going to be. I don't remember off the top of my head. But the thing is, too, let's not forget, the NBA schedule is not complete. The NBA only is scheduled up to the All-Star break, if they're actually going to have an All-Star break. So if there has to be games canceled earlier in the season, they could just always reschedule them.
Yeah, right. They're doing it the right way.
I'll tell you what, when people want to in sports want to look around, I mean, the NFL is king. Let's not forget that. I mean, as far as because it's a $1 trillion business. It's there's so much ancillary stuff that's going around that you're looking at, but when you look at the totality of how the league is run and how it treats its players, how it is on social justice and how it comes about as far as like being ahead of things like the virus and the bubble environment and everything like that. The NBA, Adam Silver have done a phenomenal job. I mean, I don't think
Yeah.
we could. I don't think we could doubt that. And just, NFL is the. Well, I mean, if the Lakers, Sid Davis and LeBron, Kyrie, and like Sean said about these players out. If these guys are out, and you can't talk about basketball in January and February as far as regular season games and compare it to the playoffs. The playoffs is really what's going to matter. They won't have an issue unless it is like a playoff situation, and that's the key. That's the time that they might think about actually moving to a bubble if needed.
Yeah.
And
Well, if I might have an easy answer for it, but you see Dallas, and they have 20,000 fans in their football stadium. Why wouldn't they go to a place like that? Or did Indy already have a contract for the March Madness finals for this year? Is that why they're going to Indy? Or why wouldn't they go to a place like Dallas where they can put 20,000 people in the stands and actually have a crowd there?
Well, I don't think the NCAA is looking to have any type of crowd, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I think when you're dealing with school kids and that environment, they're not looking to really sell tickets. I think they're just trying to play it safe as possible.
Right. So now, all right, NBA. The NBA is allowed. Some people are allowed in the stadiums. Is that right or wrong?
No, I don't believe there's any of it.
I mean, I was pretty sure yesterday I was watching people sit courtside in like seats of two on the other side of the court. Not players.
I believe so.
Not in Philly, but like Philly, there's nobody.
No,
so
certain
now
states are different or open.
Yeah, especially down south. Down south. I mean,
right. So say Dallas makes the playoffs, basketball. They're allowed X amount of people in their stadium, and then the Sixers can't have anybody, no home field, and you're in the playoffs. Now is your home court really even like?
Well, I think when you're
only get an unfair advantage.
Something that could,
Well, that's what I'm saying. I think it's going to be dictating, like if you're like you have Penn State shirt on right now, so we'll use them as an example. If you're Penn State and you're in the NCAA tournament, okay, and your school regulation is there's no fans,
right?
Is your school going to be say, okay, well, since you're going to Mississippi to play in the tournament, you're okay with them having stands in there? I think the schools that are under the regulations, the strict regulations, would have an issue with their players being in there. I mean,
right. So all right,
and the NCAA they're doing the same thing. The NCAA, they're scheduling kind of by as they go. It seems like
take a couple games at a time, but like. Right, set up bubbles in the major markets.
Yeah. I mean, it's like
right, but you either can't have fans anywhere. Like I said, you can't go to Dallas if the Mavericks and the Sixers are in the finals. We can't have any fans. They have 20,000 people, however many thousand people spaced out. I mean, you can't. It's got to be the same for both sides. The Sixers can't go play there.
No, it doesn't. It's not in football.
Yeah, during the season. But now here's my thing. Now the playoffs, it's going to be the same thing.
Listen, life's not fair. Just because they live in a state,
that's tough.
I think
football is not that bad though.
I think what Tony said too. After the All-Star break, the schedule is going to be. They're going to be moving. They're going to be something's going to happen after the All-Star break. They're going to figure something out, and it's going to be a little different. And they might have to do it. And then if the playoffs come, they'll do another playoff bubble. It was successful. Do it again.
And listen, you have the vaccine come out. You're going to have a change in leadership in the country. You're going to have different things trying to affect things. So, I mean, I'll take a wait and see aspect of it. But here's the thing: since you brought up Dallas, and this has been mentioned today, JJ Barrera's comments about Dirk Nowitzki. Now, Dirk Nowitzki, throughout his career, you very rarely heard him say a bad word about anybody about his career. And JJ Barrera came out today and said that how Dirk Nowitzki hated LeBron, Dwayne Wade, and Chris Bosh and that whole team. And he was really adamant about that. And it's kind of weird to see a guy like Dirk Nowitzki who kind of stayed out of controversy for the most part, you know?
Yeah, well, you see what happened. It fueled his fire. Take him out.
Yeah, I mean that's what I'm saying. I is that a whole thing about the the LeBron choking in Dallas? Like, what do you think these comments came from, Paul? I mean, you're a big LeBron guy. I mean, I think we're all big LeBron fans, but you're a little bit bigger than most of us. I mean, did you see anything or you remember anything while Dirk and LeBron getting into it or anything like that? Like, where do you think this came from?
And I think he's saying like it was leading up to that finals, or like as the year that they all came together. I mean, I'm sure they were hated by a lot of people in the league.
I can see Dirk being a little bitter. You know.
He was. He
got that job though.
What's that?
Yeah, I mean that's the worst finals loss fucking ever.
It was a little difficult to watch, from if you're a LeBron fan, but so I mean, it's definitely it's just one of the things that raises your eyebrows a little bit, when you hear something like somebody who's generally adored by NBA and pretty much all NBA circles about Dirk coming out with this vigor against LeBron and them. But I guess that's what happens when you retire. You get to say some interesting things and some stories going on.
All these NBA guys go on the podcasts and they open up about everything. It's great.
Yeah, the Up and Smoke guys do a good job. I mean, Matt Barnes and Steven Jackson, JJ Redick's podcast has had some pretty interesting stuff, especially when they had Jimmy Butler on it. Another decent one is Eton Thomas. Eton Thomas does some good stuff too.
Yeah.
Paul looks confused.
I'm just reading comments. Working the market to get the title.
What's that?
I'm just reading the working the market to get the title bullshit.
He don't like his brother-in-law's comments. They're beefing.
They're beefing. Well, the good old days where people wanted to beat the best and not form a super team. Well, I mean, here's the reality of super teams. They've always been here. LeBron didn't create the super team. There have been super teams before LeBron. There'll be super teams after LeBron. I don't, Paul, are you just keep doing that LeBron? And is that turning you on?
Is it happening every time? It only came up for me once.
It went up like 3 times, but anyway. But no, I think LeBron gets a lot of unnecessary heat now. Because listen, when Magic Johnson was drafted, I mean, he went to a first place team.
The best player. He had the best player.
Moses Malone was a back-to-back MVP who forced a trade to Philadelphia. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, this, how the Boston Celtics of the 80s were built. I mean, that's it's just to say, hey, this is LeBron. I mean, listen, Kevin Durant and Ray Allen and Paul Pierce got together with Rajon Rondo to form a pretty good trio that won some chips. So, I mean, the way LeBron went about it, I think it rubbed people the wrong way. But him creating a super team is a big fallacy.
The whole media hype. The whole media hype for it was just absurd. It was not needed, and I think that's where it rubbed people the wrong way. And plus, all the Michael Jordan people, they believe Jordan did it with nobody and this and that. But
I don't think that's true.
Well, not as
every Jordan argument you get into. Who do you have? Who do you have?
Well, I mean, they did it more organically. Let's just put it that way.
Compared to
sure,
exactly.
But I mean, when you look at it though, I mean, even a team like the San Antonio Spurs, which everybody loved. I mean, they literally tanked to get Tim Duncan.
Yeah.
I mean, that's pretty much how it happened. I see there's some visceral coming back from the comments about the Bulls. So like I said, I think Jordan's talent was his team was they were created, like I said, organically. The thing is, how they say is the road to hell is paved with good intentions, right? When LeBron made that announcement, he donated all that money to charity, and I think that's what's a little bit overlooked, when you say that, like he meant well, and in this day and age, you have a lot of critics for him, and I think the whole decision, so to speak, is a little bit is a little bit tough. And the other thing too, so back then when players were traded, because one of my favorite players, probably my favorite player ever, is Charles Barkley, right? He forced his way out of Philadelphia, and they got pretty much garbage in return for him.
Jeff Hornacek,
Tim Perry. Let's not bring that up, right? But he forced his way out of Philadelphia. There's been other guys who forced their way, other places in the past in the NBA. But that was done with the NBA and management controlling and pulling the strings, right? Now you see the players and them being more vocal with the tampering and everything like that. And I think that's what's rubbing people the wrong way.
Yeah, I agree. Comments.
Yeah, we got a lot of great comments coming in. I mean, Dirk feels that way because he's been with the same team for 21 seasons. Absolutely. I mean, one thing you notice with some of the foreign players, right? Dirk Nowitzki, Giannis, I think, as you see this, you see the loyalty he showed the Milwaukee Bucks, and he's out there playing, hard every night. I mean, it seems like the foreign players that didn't grow up in the AAU system now, because let's face it, right? By the time these guys are 14 years old, 13 years old, these potential NBA players, they all know each other from the AAU circuit. Yeah. So, I mean, you could go back and watch tape playing, LeBron James against Carmelo Anthony in AAU, and they played this and they play that at the camps and everything. These guys know each other. The foreign guys like Dirk Nowitzki, like when Dirk played in the 18-year-old team against the USA team, I mean, they were like, wow, this kid from Germany is good. This 18-year-old kid playing in the German national team, this kid's good. He didn't grow up that way. He was probably a pro, but he didn't know these guys. Giannis kind of the same way. These guys are coming up, in a way where you're looking at, they're not a part of that system. They're not a part of that friend system. So there's no interest in playing with everybody. And Dirk was committed to it, and and rewarded Dallas. And then when you look at Giannis, I mean, Giannis' loyalty to Milwaukee. I mean, who the fuck wants to live in Milwaukee? I don't care. If I could get $60 million a year and live in Miami, or $60 million a year in Milwaukee,
I hear you.
I mean, unless I'm getting free Laverne and Shirley gifts, or I don't know what's going on. But your boy Sean Strickland here commenting some great high school teams: Oak Hill Academy versus St. Mary's, St. Vincent St. Mary's. Well, that's even before that, And then when you're looking at, I mean, Lenny Cook was a part of that big. I don't know if you guys know Lenny Cook. He's actually down in the South Jersey area now a lot. But he was one of the guys that battling. I mean, if you look at these camps, right? I mean, there's plenty of pictures. You see like a young Steph Curry, and 5 other all-star players at a certain
all at the same camp. Yeah.
So it's different, and these other guys, they're not a part of that.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, you see it almost every time. Especially all the new kids. I mean, you look back, it was like Booker and all those kids. Like they were every camp they were at. It was like 5 of them. Every one of them were there. And Sean brings up the point about Oak Hill. Like I saw LeBron play in a tournament with in Trenton. I was at the game live, and let me tell you, watching him for the first 3 minutes just in warm-ups, you could see that he was just on another level as a player. Another kid who didn't pan out though was Sebastian Telfair. I believe he's in jail for arm possession now. So it's like
Stephon Marbury's he was Marbury's cousin, right?
No, I don't think they were actually related. I think
did they have relations? I thought
Stephon Marbury. King of China.
Listen,
Stephon Marbury's a ball, man.
Stephon Marbury.
Did you see that documentary on him?
Yeah, I did.
That was sweet.
The Knicks completely ruined him. Playing in New York completely ruined
I
him.
can't believe like the career that he had. Like he went over there and was just like, you stopped hearing. I mean, for me anyway, you stopped hearing about him when he left.
Well, when you think about it,
He was
I mean,
not over there.
well, yeah, but I mean, you're talking about a guy right now. Let's see, I'm trying to somebody who's comparable to Stephon Marbury in today's age. He's just phenomenal. I mean,
It's ridiculous, man.
I mean, you're talking like he was a legit competitor to Allen Iverson. I mean, there was nothing he couldn't do on the basketball court. He just had the off court problems.
He brought that street ball to the NBA, man. He brought that to his game. He was so fun to watch.
Yeah, and his pairing in Minnesota with Kevin Garnett could have really went a long way.
Yeah.
Into it, but he just didn't have that mentality.
They were both so young. They were so young, both of them.
Right, and in Minnesota, if Paul brought up the documentary, I think it's called "The Kid from Coney Island." If you guys are watching it, he just didn't want to live in Minnesota. It was cold. He didn't want to be there. I mean, it was just it's a reality, for some of these kids that just don't adapt away from it. And him and Garnett could have been a phenomenal duo. Winning a championship, I don't know, but I mean, just put it this way: Marbury was so good. I mean, if the Sixers had the number 1 pick and they took Marbury over Allen Iverson, I really wouldn't have been too sad about it.
No, you couldn't. No way.
Yeah, I mean, and John Suggs brings up John Thompson's influence on him. And a lot of times kids need that. I mean, because Allen Iverson was a young kid who got in trouble at the bowling alley with the fight, with throwing chairs and shit like that, and he got blackballed in a lot of circles, labeled as a thug, and all this other stuff. And I've met Allen Iverson a few times. I used to sit next to his mom and stepdad when I had the season tickets when he played. Very nice lady, but you could also see that they didn't have the same interests. Everybody didn't have the same interest, and growing up in that environment is definitely is definitely tough. And John Thompson did bring him up to the next level, and it was Marbury was good to see, and that era of point guard, right? Because right now you have the scoring point guards and everything like that, a little more. But when you had Allen Iverson, shooting guard, but combo guard, whatever you want to call him, Stephon Marbury, Steve Francis, Baron Davis. You had a lot of exciting point guard play that led to this generation of point guards, because they were the point guards prior to these scoring point guards now, because before that you had the more traditional point guards.
Baron Davis was so explosive, man. That dude had ups.
Oh, did he? I mean, listen. Oh, for you Warriors fans Baron Davis was played for the Warriors. So you Warriors fans now who don't know who Baron Davis is, it doesn't really surprise us. But I mean, so you're looking at that thing, because prior to that, the best point guards in the league were John Stockton, Gary Payton, that kind of era. I mean, Isaiah Thomas, Zeke was a phenomenal point guard in his own right, and he was playing in that time where they weren't really scorers. You know what I'm saying? Tim Hardaway, Sean, was a little bit before Baron Davis and them. Tim Hardaway was the famous Run TMC. I don't know if you guys ever seen the shirt with Mitch Richmond and Chris Mullin, which is another fun to watch. I actually played ball a lot with one of the guys on that team, Chris Gatling. Back in the day, he's 6'10" guys. It was, that guy could fly too, Chris Gatling. But it was just, the point guard was just like a different, and they kind of brought it to the next level, because traditionally the point guard wasn't scoring, wasn't athletic. One of my other players all the time was Penny Hardaway, right? I mean, talking about ballers. I mean, there's a kid, Cade Cunningham, that reminds you a lot of Penny Hardaway. That's at Oklahoma State right now. I don't think he has the explosiveness or the acceleration that Penny did, but Cade Cunningham is definitely a kid to watch in Oklahoma City. Hardaway was overlooked, but his handles were Tim Hardaway. I guess you're talking about, but Tim Hardaway. He had the famous UTEP two-step. That was crossover. Well, before the killer crossover, but that's what it was called. It was called a UTEP two-step.
Okay.
And point guard out of UTEP. And if you and Paul, you're a gamer, and I don't know if you play games or whatever like that, but back in the day, NBA Showdown, which was like NBA Live and all that stuff, players would have special moves. You get them to a certain spot, and they would have a special move. You know, Magic Johnson would do the no look, Isaiah Thomas would do the spin, Tim Hardaway, UTEP two-step, boom, boom. So yeah, it was pretty fun, you know, for them to bust out their special move. But you know, some really good point guards here. But I don't know, man. Hey, it looks like that's our hour. We just kind of been going on and on and on.
Yeah, man.
Wow.
What else you guys got anything else coming up? Let's go quick look at the scoreboard real quick. We got
Sixers pulling away a little bit.
Sixers blowing out. Seth Curry, big game, 20 points. That's beautiful to watch.
Wow, that is, man, if we could get it's great. It's amazing what shooting can do, right?
Listen,
Clippers Warriors tonight.
Shooters, Daryl Morey, thank you. Change the Sixers in 24 hours, 2 days.
Fuck yeah. Who's on ESPN tonight?
He's a good Twitter follow too. You follow
ESPN.
him?
Who? Daryl
Morey?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I ask him for a job every day.
Yeah.
No, but when you're looking at Daryl Morey too, there's a Sixer Sadie, the girl that plays the piano. Daryl Morey's been quoting her a lot of stuff. I know we got some of the guys in the sports box trying to get her on as a guest, so that would be
cool.
Pretty cool to watch.
Trying to get who on?
Sixer Sadie, her name is.
Yeah.
She's a young girl from the area that Daryl Morey's been retweeting when she plays whenever they win. He plays the piano in the Sixers theme, you know, which is pretty cool to see.
Nice.
Sean Strickland, let's go. All right. Well, since we're not on
Golden State money line tonight.
Golden State money line tonight, who do you got? Bam or OSU?
Oh, I don't know. I'm gonna roll Bama. I hate Ohio State. Sean, you should know that I hate Ohio State, so I will never take Ohio State.
Yeah, I'm going Bama as well. Justin Fields been erratic against some pretty good competition. He looked phenomenal. Let's not give him credit. He looked phenomenal.
He's banged up too, and he's going to be hurt. So.
And I love Steve's. I love Coach Saban's daughter talking shit in the heat about you're just trying to hide.
She had to apologize immediately, little punk.
Yeah, well, what are you going to do? But, yeah, so when you're looking
actually, no, I know why she apologized, because it was the COVID people would have not a good look.
You can't say anything wrong about anybody nowadays, But yeah, so I'm just not going to trust Justin Fields to have another great game like that. I mean, he was phenomenal.
Smoked. Sorry, so you would have possibly took Clemson in this matchup against Bama.
I don't know where they found that running back at. He's a stud.
Yeah. So look at it. Like I said, I probably would have. I don't know. Bama's
Ohio State.
The guy.
Good. I just hope it's a good game.
Yeah, I'd like to see a good game.
I would like to see Ohio State win. I mean,
no, never.
Yeah,
never.
Yeah,
you have a Penn State shirt on with an Oregon Duck sign in the back. You just showed us an Oregon helmet, and you want Ohio State to win.
You want the Indiana hat?
What is that?
Indiana.
Arizona State hat. Just be ready.
Put your Ohio State hat on.
I don't got one of them.
Exactly.
We had all the teams when we were like 13. We had all the hats, and then you grow up.
Listen, I go on 49. This is a shout out, Greg Morano, or 47 brand. You just go on it, and the hats are whatever, $25. You put they do a mystery box. So I mean, it landed me this cool hat. The Oilers. I mean, this is a fire hat.
Back.
So the hats are normally like $25. You do the mystery box, they just send you a random fucking hat. And
that's cool.
It's like $12, $13. So I mean, I just sit there and just Arizona hat, Oregon fan.
Yeah, this is where we have a disconnect in our generations, because I would never wear a another school hat that I didn't
Yeah,
support,
that's
or another team hat that I didn't support.
You see the flag? That's the team. I like Penn State.
What did your boy Trey sleep over and leave his hoodie?
No, I don't know if that would fit. He's not that big of a guy.
Are we talking about hoodie, or what are we talking about? But no, I like John Suggs' comment about Sam Howell here. I think that is a dark horse. I was looking at some of the
UNC.
Yeah, he's the kid from UNC. He really shows a lot on offense. I love the running back too. Javon Williams. So I think he's going to be a good pick in the NFL. But Sam Howell, Spencer Rattler right now is the leader as far as the betting favorite. But Sam Howell is somebody I looked on earlier about maybe probably throw a couple bucks on. I think he was like plus 800, plus 1,200 in that area. So that's not a bad when you're talking about college football. Listen.
Yeah.
But yeah, so anyway, what bets you guys got going on tonight in the NBA? Since we're an NBA show, what are you guys on?
I mean, listen, the last time I gave out picks, they were phenomenal. I gave everybody a nice money line. What was the money line? What was the money line? I said.
I don't remember.
It was what two? Was it last week? Yeah, it was last week.
I know last week we gave out a lot of winners. That's why I want to give the people some winners.
We did give fucking winners out.
Oh, we do, especially the Sunday show. If you guys watch the NFL Sunday show, it's on sometimes with me. Be giving out a lot of winners Sunday too.
Yeah,
absolutely
I was
killed
going
it.
to say that. I was going to say that if people are listening to us on Sunday, I mean, we're just throwing them out there and they're hitting.
Oh, last Wednesday I said Miami Heat money line outright against the Bucks after they got blown out by 60.
You did. You were correct about that. I remember you saying that.
So what do I have tonight?
So tonight I got the under in the Toronto and Phoenix game.
What is that number?
It's at 219.
Under 219, Toronto Phoenix. Okay.
And then I got Steph. I got Steph over 29.5.
Steph over 29.5. I like it.
Yeah.
He's been on fire. I mean, like.
Yeah,
what do you have?
You got to ride it. You got to try to ride it.
And then what did he?
Averaged 32.
Yeah. So I mean, yeah. You want to ride these guys when they're hot because you're not going to see too much in there. I did take the Sixers tonight. I thought that was a play, pretty simple play. So that looks so far so good. What else? What do you got, Paulie?
I got Atlanta going right now. They're down by about 20. It's a good one. Yep. I got the Celtics. I got the Celtics as well. They're up right now.
I got Giannis over 44.5 points, rebounds, and assists.
I like that. I'm on you too. My two player props. And when Paulie said that about Atlanta, I was like, because it's 10 minutes into that game and Trae Young doesn't have a point, and I have Trae Young over 28.5. So that might hurt a little bit.
They're in the second. They're 10 minutes into the second quarter.
Well, Trae Young played 10 minutes. Are you in the second quarter?
There's 9 minutes left in the second quarter.
And there's only 17 points scored by Atlanta. So,
11 in the first.
Atlanta's due for a cool down.
Yeah, but see, here's the thing, though. You're looking at Devontae Graham and Terry Rozier, two guys who aren't really playing too much defense. So I mean, for Trae Young not to have a point in 10 minutes, that's pretty tough. So and I guess I'm piggybacking off you a little bit, Ant, but I just have Giannis's points 27.5. I have him getting over. I think he beats up on the Pistons.
Well, that's another thing.
Under on Weissman's.
I hope they don't sit him. We got to cross our fingers. That's another gamble, part of the take there. It's like, hope it's a closer game.
Well, yeah, I know we've all been bit a little bit by that. Early in the season, these guys blowing them out. Speaking of fourth quarter, because the Eagles in the fourth quarter made their thing and made national headlines and everybody was going crazy. But did you see what NBC Philadelphia tweeted after the Sixers were blowing out?
Yeah.
That was great. The NBA, for those guys who were watching and didn't see it, NBC Philadelphia sat, after the Sixers sat all their starters in the third quarter, which I love because now you can see Tyrese Maxey gets more burn and these other guys get more burn. You get a little look at them, which could pay them. Sorry that we sat our guys in the fourth quarter. So nice little subtle dig to the New York Giants fans everywhere, which we'll see.
My fantasy basketball team that I sent y'all. I'd just dropped T.J. Warren today, my 4th or 5th pick. John Morant out. Gallinari out. Kevin Love out.
Kiss of death.
Just everybody gone. I got John Morant, Kevin Love sitting on my IR. Gallinari, I don't even know what I could do with them.
Donation this year. You donated this year.
Oh, yeah. I'm 0-2, getting blown out already this week. I'm like, I don't know. I got Luka. I got to trade him.
Trade Luka. Imagine that.
LaMelo Ball, though, he's actually balling out fantasy-wise. He'll probably be rookie of the year because Anthony Edwards ain't doing shit. Weissman, I mean, I have him on this bullshit team, and I mean, he's just.
I saw his point total tonight, like 9.5.
Yeah, he's like 10, 6,
right there.
8,
right
11.
There. His first game was the best game.
You know what? I forgot to set my lineup today too. I'm just looking. I pulled my team up. Oh my god!
Just can't believe this team is this bad. I mean, losing. Now,
are you setting daily lineups or are you setting weekly lineups?
No, we're daily.
So the best strategy with daily lineups is to have like 2 or 3 guys on your team that are throwaways, and you just so when you're doing the daily lineup, you do the ad drops. So I mean,
but now I gotta start throwing away. Like, I mean, T.J. Warren, he's out indefinitely. God knows when. I had to let him go. Like Gallinari, he's there 3 weeks. I mean,
I'm loving my team led by Nikolai Jokic.
Gallinari, he should probably go 8th round.
Alexander, Trey Young is killing me today, but he's I got Chris Paul, Elfrid Payton, these kind of guys, So far, I'm doing pretty well. The scoring is a little weird in that league too. I mean, it's weekly categories, and one of the categories is triple double. So I have Nikolai Jokic, so I win triple double almost every week, unless I'm playing against Russ or Ben Simmons, who you're only.
You're doing weeklies, gotcha.
Yeah, so it's like it's head to head, and then if
you do categories though, you don't do FanDuel, right?
Right. So it's categories. So like if I beat you in triple double, I get 1 point. If you beat me in points, you get enough. You get points. Right. So like at the end of the week,
doing it that way.
6-4. So
I mean, we went to this, and it's just pick the best team, and hopefully they fucking all score.
Is that what it is? It's total points.
No, it's fan or DraftKings FanDuel's scoring system. I mean, you go up. I don't know if you can probably see it. Probably not.
Isn't that ESPN League?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's ESPN.
Just disgusted. And I had the second. Fuck this league.
It's 2 weeks in the season.
It's over for me.
Stay active.
T.J. Warren, that's a big loss.
Oh, come on now.
This year.
You'll be able to find somebody. Listen,
I just picked up Eric Gordon, who has went off for like 30-something every night, fantasy-wise, not in points total. Paul, I've seen an AAU. This lineup is going into the season was good. Mellow Ball, Tyler Hero. I just picked up Crowder today. Anui.
Shout out to Jay Crowder.
I mean, Jeremy Grant, stud. Luka, stud. Murray, stud. Nurkic, stud. Morant, stud.
My ESPN must be broke.
Yeah, I got to trade the whole team. They're hurt.
I got Trey Young, Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, Brandon Ingram, Nikolai Jokic, and I got Chris Paul, De'Aaron Fox. My team's doing pretty good, but tonight they're not. Yeah.
It
Guy you
happens.
might
We got block pools too.
Who's that?
So we got block pools too. We'll throw out a little promotion for all 8 people that are still watching it with us.
Super Bowl?
Yeah, Super Bowl block pools. Slide in the DMs.
DM Paulie for Super Bowl Blackpool. And listen, do we still have that PlayStation 5 that we're raffling off?
Yeah. I'm holding my picks off till Sunday. I'm giving my
That's for everybody who likes.
Give my exclusive
Are we
till
raffling off the
Sunday.
PlayStation 5?
I don't know. I'm still waiting for a Tar. I've been lobbying for him to raffle off a PlayStation 5 on the Sportsbox Network. And if he's holding it hostage or something like that, he's trying to crush some kids' Christmas presents, and I don't know. He's just a capitalist pig. But somebody needs to storm his house instead of the White House. John Suggs, you got to be quiet on that one. You got to be quiet on that one with the saying the Bucks can make a deep run and the Ravens are a dark horse. They're my 2 Super Bowl picks, man. I love the Ravens in the playoffs this year.
Did you see what's his name? Chase calling out Brady?
Yeah.
We want Brady.
Well, here's the thing, too. Alex Smith might not even play this week. He's doubtful now. He's downgraded to doubtful. He's having setbacks, which is a shame.
He's having what?
He's doubtful. Taylor Hinkey's taking all the first rounds, and Alex Smith's officially doubtful. So if Alex Smith doesn't play,
it's over.
Bucks by 40. But here's the thing too. Like traditionally, when the teams that give Tom Brady problems are teams with a stud front four, and everybody's listen. Chase Young,
he gets under pressure.
Deron Payne. I mean, that's a stud front four right there. So, but scoring wise, they're going to struggle. There's not much offense if you're starting Taylor.
I mean,
what else you got? What else? Wild card weekend. It's a nice little Saturday. I mean, I don't know how like I said, I don't know how a team from the NFC East is on a prime time. I guess.
Well, on Saturday.
Yeah, I mean, why is it that? That's 1 o'clock.
They're playing the Bucks.
Right, but it's like the Bills Colts, like that'll draw. So that's such a better game.
Well, for football fans, but casual fans, it's not. It's Buffalo and Indianapolis. You got to think about it in the context of NFL and what they're trying to sell.
Yeah, I get it, but it's just they haven't been able to sell the Bucks all year.
Well, they've been on prime time. I mean, they've been selling them all year.
Under the radar team, you haven't heard about it way too much this year. They pipe up the Bills every week. Josh Allen, he's the next Messiah, he's MVP.
But you're still only limited to market in Buffalo, though. It's still a regional game.
And everybody in the world is going to be watching Buffalo when they win the next 3 Super Bowls.
I like Buffalo. I like Buffalo, man. I mean, that team right there, Buffalo versus Indianapolis, I mean, that's going to be a really good game. I think it could go either way. And
Phillip Rivers, come on. I hope not.
What's that?
I said I hope Phillip Rivers doesn't try to pull something out of his hat here.
Well, I mean, let
the Bills go play the Chiefs.
But when you look at football, it's offensive and defensive line, and you have Suggs, not Suggs. What's the guy's name? I'm reading the thing. Suggs.
Does defense still win championships, or?
Well, listen, they have a very good front seven, but the Bills' defense isn't that great either, so it's tough. I don't think the defense win championship adage is pretty accurate in today's football, though. It's a little, KC proved. What's that?
I think it's a little skewed. They can help you, but I mean, if you don't have an offense that's out there putting up,
right? Yeah, you need to be able to score points.
Yeah. Is Goff back this week?
Still up in the air.
They haven't said yet.
I mean, nobody.
If Goff's back, I'm picking the Rams. If Goff's back, I'm picking the Rams. I'm not a fan of what Seattle's been doing.
Russell, playoff Russ?
Danger Russ, yeah.
Playoff Russ?
Jalen Ramsey on that one, DK Metcalf shuts him down.
Yeah,
Also,
it's
you
a
know,
bad matchup for Seattle.
I mean, and Seattle beat them last time they played too, which was a little surprising. But I don't. I mean, that was a game that Goff got hurt in, and I think if Goff's healthy enough to play, I like that offense a little bit better. Cam Akers is back too.
Sean is taking Goff over Wilson too. That's weird. I mean, Russell Wilson's just fucking stud. The MVP candidate.
Seattle's defense has played a little bit better in the last few games too.
Yeah, well,
so when
Seattle, they need Jamal Adams out there, even if he's not 100%, because I mean they had a big problem.
Jamal Adams is definitely playing.
Yeah. This game's going under.
I'm not meant to be a question. Oh, all right. I don't know if he's saying it is. It should be meant to be a question. I mean, I don't know who's taking Goff over Wilson besides Sports Box Quick up there.
You know what? I mean, it was funny.
Sweet.
Listen, it was funny too because I guess Jared Goff has family in the area here. Do you guys know that?
No,
his aunt lives in the area. It was fun. Listen, because I'm at the local. I'm at that the name of that draft. I'm at the local bowling alley, right? There wasn't too many people in there. There was just a couple tables, okay. And I'm sitting there, me and a couple of my buddies are eating, and there's a lady over there, and there's four of the teams. The girl has a Jared Goff hoodie on, and a golf, and I'm like, "Who the fuck cheers for Cal Jared Goff in friggin' South Jersey?"
Right.
And it was his. So of course I say something, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, and you know, that was the draft too. It was the Carson Wentz draft, so it was like, you know, the Philadelphia area had a big interest in it. So I look, and it's her, it's legit her his aunt. You know, her last name was Goff as well. It was kind of funny. South Jersey ties. So yeah, so let's never take Jared Goff over Russell Wilson though.
No.
Anyway, listen, guys, I'm going to watch the rest of the Sixers game. I think we had a good show tonight. Appreciate everybody tuning up. Any last words before we sign off, gentlemen, or what?
No,
we'll see you next week. Take Golden State money line tonight.
Golden State money line, and me and Ant both expect big games out of Giannis. So 27.5 points, 44.5 total. I think Giannis goes off tonight.
And Steph.
Yeah.
Giannis, you guys went on a limb.
What's that?
So you guys went on a limb saying Giannis is going to have a big game.
Well, he's got.
Listen, why?
Just kidding. Oh yeah, I was going to say, how do you feel? They got to wear the mask on the bench now.
It's bullshit. It's stupid. I mean,
like. You're watching the guys come off the court, no mask, just right into the mix of like guys with masks. They sit there during the break. If you're going back in, you don't put the mask on. I'm like,
if they all test negative,
what the hell does anybody have to be on the sideline for?
It's absolutely ridiculous. It's the same thing with like, why do the refs in the NFL have to wear masks when all the players aren't wearing masks? They're all in the same thing. It's
not so the masks don't work. Yeah, you didn't even say this. Anything about the Bears scratching their way, clawing into the playoffs?
I'll save my stuff for the weekend.
That's right. Don't forget. Listen, guys, we have the NFL special on Sunday mornings.
I'm gonna wake up for that. Sunday. We got to do.
I don't know if we're doing Saturday morning.
Do it Saturday and Sunday.
You should wake up because we're giving winners out. Just giving them away. No one's
winners go in when I wake up.
There's video proof. There's video proof out there of all our winnings.
Yeah, that's good.
I believe my player props were 100% this weekend. Just that I gave on 100%. So
they're putting Foles in it.
I guarantee. I also guaranteed that. Derrick Henry would hit 2,000 yards, and I guaranteed that Lamar Jackson would hit 1,000 yards.
Yep.
Yeah.
Nothing but winners. Nothing but winners.
No winners here.
Shit. I might have to jump on one of these NFL shows, but until then,
you're a little bit late in the season, bud.
Yeah. I'll get on a couple of the Super Bowl playoff jumps. You know what I mean?
I got you.
Until then, make sure you guys check out our sponsors. Crowd Play.
Check out our sponsors and all that fun stuff.
You should guys check them out. Apple Store, Google Play, you know the deals.
Crowd Play.
Other than that, we will see you
Next Wednesday, right?
Next Wednesday.
Definitely next Wednesday, possibly for one of the preview shows.
All right, gentlemen. I got another show to do, I think, tonight. So
Oh boy.
check me out on our friends at All Entertainment Network with our boy Drew and the West Coast people.
Cool.
Word up.
Good luck.
All right.
All right, guys. Have a good
All
one.
right, boys. Peace.
Thank you for watching the Sports Box. Follow us on Facebook at Sports Box Show, Twitter at Sports Box Show, Instagram at The Sports Box Show. Find us on YouTube and join Outside the Box, our Facebook sports discussion group. The Sports Box is brought to you by our friends at Crowd Play. Download the free Crowd Play app today and use promo code THEBOX at sign up for 10 points. See you next time.